And so then sometimes people will say, okay, well, if God is loving and God is all powerful, then why do bad things happen to good people? Well, the biggest problem with that question is you assume you're good, but I understand what you're saying. There was only one good person, his name was Jesus. The worst thing ever happened to him so that we may have life. But I get what you mean. Compared to the nightly news and your college roommate, you're pretty good, all right? So why do bad things happen? I can give you the theological reasons. Ready? But if you're walking through it, it ain't gonna hurt you any. I mean, it's not gonna help you any. When you're in the hurt locker, sometimes this is not gonna help. But here's why do bad things happen? Number one, collateral damage of sin. That when Adam and Eve rejected God and sin entered the world, they held the door open for all the pain, all the strife, all the shame, all the regret that you've ever experienced. And everything was cursed at the macro level. So we got tsunamis that wipe out villages, all the way down to the micro level, so people don't keep their promises and cells won't even obey. So sometimes it's just collateral damage of sin. Number two, sometimes it's a direct attack of the enemy. That we have an enemy, a thief, he wants to steal, kill, and destroy. Sometimes it is demonic attack. And some people are like, you mean you tell me you believe in demons? Uh-huh. And if you don't, you're too dumb to talk to. I mean, what do you think it is? You ever met somebody with an addiction that you love? You ever heard them talk about it? Hey, I feel like there's this thing in me. I don't want to go down this road anymore because I know where that thing lives. But then sometimes it's as if there's something else baiting me down a road to kill me. What do you think that is? Just poor choices? Or the human trafficking of children? What do you think that is? Different worldview? No, that's called evil. So sometimes bad things happen, it's collateral damage of sin. Sometimes it's demonic attack. And sometimes it happens because you're stupid. I mean, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And so God will forgive us of all sin. He does not necessarily rescue us from the consequences of our dumb decisions. Can't tell you the number of times somebody's come to me, Pastor, please pray for me. The devil's attacking my finances. Okay, tell me about him. After they tell me a little bit of details, I go, well, I got good news and bad news. You're right, you're being attacked, but you're the devil because you're an idiot. You're buying stuff you don't need with money you ain't got. The devil doesn't have to mess with you. These are self-inflicted wounds. Sometimes it's the result of our own bad decisions. Sometimes the reason bad things happen is because other people sin against you. Like it wasn't your fault that you got molested. It wasn't your fault that you got abused. Other people did evil things and you were the target. So why do bad things happen? Collateral damage of sin, attack of the enemy, consequences of our own dumb decisions, other people's sin, and then the fifth one is this. This is the hardest one to get your mind around. But no matter what it is, God is sovereign over it all. That it all had to pass through the hands of God. I mean, Romans 8:28 says, for God is at work in all things for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purpose. And sometimes God himself hands out pain because you got to keep reading in Romans 8:28. It gets to Romans 8:29 and it says, and the reason that God is at work in all these things is that we would be conformed to the image and likeness of Christ. And so sometimes God himself will hand out pain to conform us to be more like Jesus. Where do you get that? The Bible. Joseph from the Old Testament. By the time you get to Genesis chapter 50, do you know what this brother has been through? Domestic violence, human trafficking, false imprisonment. Does that sound like the will of God? I remember when I was in high school, people would always say this, the safest place you can be is in the center of God's will. I'd be like, have you met Jesus? It didn't work out good for him. It killed him on a cross. And so Joseph at this point has been elevated to vice president of all of Egypt, and his brothers who beat him and sold him into slavery are there. They think he's gonna kill him, and he looks at them and he says this, am I not in the place that God has for me? For what you intended for evil, God intended for good, not used for good. God doesn't play second fiddle. God doesn't drive an ambulance. He's not waiting on a 911 call to come up and clean up our mess, okay? Sometimes God actually hands out pain. Paul gets a thorn in his flesh to keep him humble. One of my least favorite things is Jesus looks at Peter right at the end of his life. He looks at Peter and he goes, hey, Peter, the devil is going to sift you, but I'll pray for you. If I'm Peter, I'm like, how about don't let him sift me? What does that even mean? So God is in charge of these things.